Hello, everybody. Welcome to the COGO Podcast. My name is R.W. Moody. I am the Associate State Pastor here with COGO Ministries, and you are listening or watching, if you're on YouTube, the COGO Podcast. And so the purpose of this podcast is to move leaders in Ohio to be challenged through bite-sized conversations about ministry, leadership, and growth. And so we would invite you to take a listen, to step into your God call and to be challenged as we move here together in this great state. And so today with us, we have Abby Heaton. Abby is one of our former student leadership team members for State Youth Convention. Say hello, Abby.
Hello.
How's it going today?
It is going good.
That's good. It's a Friday. You were saying before we hit record, 5 more days before break.
I'm definitely excited. I'm looking forward to the break.
I bet. Now, this episode isn't going to drop until like the last part of January. So it's going to be like you're seeing into the future or past. I don't know, something like that. But it was a good day at school?
It was a good day. Just finishing up some of the work and getting ready to move into break.
Gotcha. Well, Abby, just for the sake of our listeners, tell us who you are, where you go to church, and then what kind of capacity you serve up there at your local congregation.
Okay. So as RW said, my name is Abby Heaton. I go to East Canton Church of God, which is in... Sorry?
What?
I go to East Canton Church of God, which is in Northeast Ohio. I'm currently a sophomore in high school. I serve as a student leader in my church. I serve at our district level. So we have a team of student leaders in Northeast Ohio, and I'm a part of that team. I was also a part of the team of state student leaders for 2025 OSYC for the theme of Longer Day.
Yeah.
And for the 2026 team, I get to come alongside them as a mentor. And I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, you have done well, friend, in terms of just kind of stepping into leadership roles and taking on assignments. And so it's kind of cool. Those of you who may have been at State Youth Convention or heard about OSYC 2025, Abby's creativity was kind of like you were kind of the starter of the idea for the logo with the skeleton hand and the flowers. So yeah, well done.
Thank you.
There are still people who talk about that even today, like, a month or so after State Youth Convention.
That's incredible. I mean, that was the whole purpose of why we chose to present it the way that we did, so that it could be a talking point and that it would be something that would last.
Yeah.
That makes me really happy.
Yeah, that's cool. So, Abby, this year we are taking a focus on this whole idea of discipleship. And so, as a student, what does it mean for you, first of all, to be a follower of Jesus Christ today?
I think that in general, it means being willing to not fit in with everybody else, which I think a lot of students struggle with to some extent. But as Christ followers, we're called to be set apart and we're called to be different. And I go back to Galatians 1:10, which says, "For am I now seeking the approval of man or of God? Or am I trying to please man? If I were trying to please man, I would not be a servant of Christ." So as I follow Christ, I think about that, and that if I'm so focused on fitting in with my peers, that I may be straying away from what it is to follow Christ. And so it also looks like having a dedicated relationship with him, where I'm putting in time and effort to grow that relationship and allowing him to be a part of my everyday life.
That's good. So, Abby, what are some ways that you, as a young person, live your life set apart?
So in school, I think particularly, I tried not to involve myself in things that are opposite of Christ. So I think a lot of it is jokes. In school, we hear a lot of jokes that are inappropriate and rude and mean, and trying to put myself in a situation where I don't have to be a part of that is part of being set apart, one aspect of it at least.
That's good. So in this idea of discipleship, I know your leaders at East Canton well enough to know that the intentionality is there to help you become a fully devoted follower of Jesus Christ. So In what ways have you been discipled by adults or even other students as you've been journeying with Christ?
So, as you mentioned, I've been blessed with having incredible youth leaders, and I can happily say that they're focused on pouring into me and into the youth. Our conversations are always intentional, and they really demonstrate to us what it is to walk with Jesus. And so, having those adults in my life to look up to and to have pour into me has been really great for me growing my faith.
Yeah.
And I have parents in my life that have gone through training and studied the Bible and have poured into me even further in like personal aspects of life. Um, Students and peers and friends and stuff. It's really interesting to learn and grow from friends because we all have different perspectives. We've all been raised different, and so we can read something and talk about something, and we can all get something a
Right.
little bit different and
That's right.
grow from it. And
That's
I
right.
think the other interesting part of being surrounded by people in school that don't believe is that it grows my faith in a way that I have to be prepared and that I have to work on representing Christ well to these people who don't believe. And so having these conversations with them has also helped me grow my faith, which is interesting, I think.
Yeah, that's great. I love what you had to say, Abby, about how peers, different perspectives on scripture or teaching, um, a song, whatever those different components of faith might look like, help you think about where you are as a disciple. So let me pivot on that for a second. So how do you personally impact other students to follow Jesus or
Mhm.
toward Jesus?
But I think a lot of it for me is character. So I try to look at things realistically. I try to fall somewhere in between a pessimist and an optimist. So just viewing things for what they are and
Right?
acting based on that. And just talking and loving on people who probably wouldn't be noticed otherwise by what's normal, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
And I think that I impact other people towards Jesus just by talking about my faith in regular conversation. I had a conversation with someone this week and she was just struggling with something, and I talked her through it and gave her practical ways of
Good.
like handling it, but I also told her like, these people in your life might not be treating you the greatest, but you have a God that loves you, no matter what.
Good.
And I think again, bridging off of that is just being not afraid to talk about my faith.
Yeah.
Um, After OSYC, I wore my Imago Dei shirt to school, and I had a lot of people asking me about it. And it gave me the opportunity to tell people, like, this is what we did over the weekend. I got to be a part of this and lead in this capacity and see all of these people be impacted by Jesus and what he's done for us. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
No. So once again, something that you in your contemplation of, theme and stuff for state youth convention, you were able to take what was intended to be a conversation piece and introduce people to the person of Jesus through that. That's good. It's good. So it's great to point people toward Jesus. It's great to influence people toward Jesus, even great to disciple others toward Jesus. But why is that so important for you?
Mhm. I think that above all things, it's because it's something that Jesus has commanded us to do. He says, go therefore and make disciples of all nations.
Yeah.
The aspect of go therefore, it's saying that you as a Christian are called into this. You need to step up, you need to do something, you need to go out and tell people about what Jesus has done in your life. And then the aspect of all nations, making disciples of all nations, says that everybody is loved by Christ. He wants a relationship with every single person that he's created. And so I think that going out and making disciples and telling people about Christ, in my eyes, is important because he's loved by, or everybody is loved by God. And so it would be selfish of me to keep the hope and the love of Jesus to myself.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that discipling to other people gives you that opportunity to share your faith and fulfill that commandment.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are called, you said it, we're called to be the deputized like people of Jesus to share who he is with that. I love it. Like friends, I'm going to tell you, I know that, we've been doing a lot of podcast episodes over the years, with different leaders, but to hear a young person who's passionate about Jesus and passionate about sharing Jesus, that's something we as older people, we need to get off we need to get off ourselves and like do what Abby's telling us to do. We got to be obedient to that Great Commission. All right, Abby. So if you're at school and, you're just around people, how do you demonstrate the presence of Jesus in your life?
I want to preface this by saying I am by no means perfect. And so I have things that I think I'm doing well, but I am by no means perfect. But I think that I'm someone who doesn't get easily offended. People can say like mean jokes to me and stuff. And even if I know that they're joking, or even if they're not joking, I don't get easily offended by it.
Okay.
I try to be intentional with all of my conversations. I know that a lot of times whenever we think about telling other people about Jesus, showing them who he is, we think about it's what you say and stuff. But I also think that it's not always about teaching people the gospel message. It's just by being intentional with what you're saying.
Yeah.
And again, I try to love on all people, even if there's the people that irritate me and may not always be my favorite people to be around. I'm not called to not like people, for lack of better words. I try to love on all people. I try to serve wherever and however I can. If there's something that needs done and I see that it needs done, I like to be somebody who steps up and gets it done.
Yeah.
And I think that God has given me gifts in my life, and it would be wrong of me to not use them. And so in my day-to-day life, I try to use those gifts however I can.
That's good. That's good. What I've come to appreciate about you just on a personal level with that, you demonstrate what you just talked about all the time. I saw it in our planning process. I saw it through State Youth Convention. As a matter of fact, I saw it as you were like embracing like young people at camp this past summer, who just needed a friend. So, those are ways that you've taken personally the embodiment of Jesus and living it out. All right. So as your voice today, and, we have listeners around the state and around the world, actually. Some of them are leaders. Some of them are just, just not people who are in leadership. But what word of challenge would you give people or leaders in Ohio when it comes to this whole practice of discipleship? What would you say if you could say anything you could to them in this moment?
I think that to leaders and followers of Christ of all ages, to people who are young in their faith, to people who are old in their faith, as we go into 2026, my word of challenge is to get out of your comfort zone. I think that a lot of times as leaders and as Christians, it's easy to become complacent in a way. We know what's comfortable for us. We know what's easy for us, and we like to stick with it.
Yeah.
And so I saw a quote recently that said, if you're not changing, you're choosing.
Interesting.
And it sticks out to me a lot, because if you're not making growth in your faith and the way that you present it to other people and your character in Christ, then you're choosing to stay where you are. And I think that for discipleship especially, we need to get out of our comfort zone a little bit. And I think of the analogy of a ripple effect. So, I mean, have you ever thrown a rock into water? Like, what happens whenever you throw a rock in water?
Yeah, it just kind of goes out from that side. Yeah.
And the thing with that rock, though, is that it didn't just grow legs and walk into the water itself. It had to be picked up and removed from the spot that it's been laying for who knows how long and thrown into the water. And that movement out of what is easy and what's normal and what's comfortable it creates ripples. And so I think that for us as leaders, we need to be willing to get out of our comfort zone and do the things that aren't easy.
That's good.
And do the things that are difficult and see the impact that it'll make.
That's good. Friends, I'm giving you permission to utilize that analogy, that object lesson that Abby just gave, but make sure she gets credit for it. Just kidding. No, seriously, it's a great analogy. You make a very good point. And we need to be super intentional about making an impact, getting out of where we're comfortable and making an impact for Jesus. Friends, let me tell you something. If Abby could just like, if we could like, I don't know, take some of her blood out and poke it into every like student in our ministries, we'd have some really cool like student ministries happening with young people that are growing big time in discipleship. You're a great example, Abby, of somebody who is trying to follow Jesus for their life and share Jesus as a disciple. So thanks for being that.
Thank you for saying that about me. That means a lot.
Absolutely. Hey, when it's very evident, it's easy to say. So yeah.
You.
Abby, thanks for joining us on the COGO podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Friends, if you're listening, watching today, certainly would encourage you to, just encourage your young people. Encourage your young people to be who they've been called to be in Jesus. So, get them out of their comfort zone, get them to a place where they can serve, get them to a place where they can grow. Young people are not the church of tomorrow. They are the church of today. They're not the church of tomorrow. They're the church of today. So let's inspire them, encourage them to step into that role. Till the next time we drop an episode of the COGO Podcast, blessings to you. We'll see you soon.